cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein.
Blood defiles the land. This land we standing on is defiled by Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian blood. And you cannot cleanse the land of the blood that's shed therein, but by what?
But by the blood of him that shed it.
Is the man that shed this blood here today? No? Is he here today? No? Is his blood still here today? Yes, because it runs through you, and it runs through you.
The letter J wasn't invented till 400 years ago. You should have known that. So why you calling him Jesus? What does he think when he sees us? I gotta rest on the Sabbath, even though I am a savage. You eating pork is a habit. Coronavirus a panic. Gotta wear your mask in public. Democratic, how you love it. It ain't about you, it's the money. Now I'm cooking, start the oven. Spirit cooking what they into. Blood gang like the menstrual. Now I'm talking to your mental. Pen or pencil, pick utensil. Better go follow commandments, unless they were not given to your nation. Contradiction in your habits, even your prayers abomination. I was trying to live life like tightrope on a lifeline. Yahweh knew I was built for this, so he put me through the furnace. Now I'm feeling like killing 9 needle mites at a time with the anger of a slave. Hit you with the Bible, then I read the scripture as I flip the page. Ain't no telling what the Ruach got in store for me. When I'm with him, I am not lonely. Kill a demon, leave a widow. When you speak his name, I told you that it's not a riddle. It's Exodus 3:14. I am that I am, yeah. Exodus 3:14. I am that I am, yeah. Do it for Issachar. Do it for my people. Do it for Issachar. Do it for my people. Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. They told you that white guy was Jesus. Well, that was a lie. Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. They told you that white guy was Jesus. Well, that was a lie. I ain't gon' cut it to you any other way. If you living in sin, then you gon' probably die. Cops are killing us in broad daylight. Don't you know that it's a homicide? I'm just waiting for Hamashiach. You just counting what Takashi got. In this matrix, you a polygon. I'm a spirit when your body's gone. Pull up on me, I got Bible on me. Babylon, they eating that baloney. I don't worship, I do not condone it. Work on Sabbath, then you acting phony. End times, that prophecy. You calcified, but I could see. You voting for democracy. Reptilian philosophy. Goddamn dust and Deuteronomy. At the bottom of economy. Israel is who they wanna be. Edomites aren't really fond of me. I was in ocean when it was split. I was escaping my nemesis. Look in the ocean for evidence. Still 89 and it's ever since. You are the blood of your ancestors. Live by the sword and you die by the sword. Guess what? I'm ambidextrous. Living so close to the eye of the storm. Say his name how it's supposed to be. Exodus will expose the weak. Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, get close to me. Exodus 3:14. I am that I am, yeah. Exodus 3:14. I am that I am, yeah. Do it for Issachar. Do it for my people. Do it for Issachar. Do it for my people. Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. They told you that white guy was Jesus. Well, that was a lie. Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. They told you that white guy was Jesus. Well, that was a lie.
Shalom, shalom, Yasharala. So lucky that the camera isn't that good. I don't know what happened to my other camera. I couldn't find it. I was kind of busy right now watching the brother Jomar get robbed on the Brew League challenge, right? So let me go ahead and share my screen and we'll get this lesson started. As always, I'm gonna start by giving all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh, which is the God of Israel. And I do so in the name of his only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, whose name is Yahweh Shai in the Paleo-Hebrew tongue, right? So we're going to start real quick before I get the lesson started. We're going to start in Exodus 20, right? Exodus 20, We're gonna start on 15, right? Exodus 20 and 15. Thou shalt not steal. The brother Jomar just got robbed on the Brew League. All right, the brother just got robbed on the Brew League. I mean, I don't know if any of y'all watch another brother Daniel Allah and Jomar. Y'all probably y'all definitely saw it, right? But I mean, I just wasn't feeling those that Stone Cold Undertaker beat, man. That wasn't, bro. That wasn't it, bro. That wasn't it. And then you had the judges talking about how it was real hip hop, right? It was, oh, I got that real. It's got that real hip hop feel this round. That wasn't real hip hop, man. That wasn't real hip hop. And then you had it's funny because the lesson is about contentions, right? The little lesson, the lesson is supposed to be on contentions, and that brother was being real contentious if you were paying attention to his lyrics, right? He was being real contentious. So the brothers are laughing. Now I like the beats, but the judges violated So I mean that was crazy, bro. That was crazy. But let's get on with the lesson, right? Um, I'm gonna start by saying I'm sure some of you brothers know why I'm gonna do this lesson, and I'm doing it because there's always contentions when you have a a, how would you say it? Not a profile, but a platform like I have that the Most High has given to me. Right, man's goings are the Most High for sure, 100%. The Most High gave me the platform to spread His truth. Right, I always see contentions. These are three things that I always see. I'm just gonna go over three of them. There's more than that, right? But I want to use it as a teaching lesson, right? So the number one thing, the last few days, some of y'all brothers might have seen. There was a brother. Let me see. I'm gonna pull up the what his name was. It was something Bethlehem Church of Bethlehem, 144,000. Right? He had a contention with me. Instead of coming to me, he went ahead and started making some posts about it and things of that nature, which is fine. I mean, I'm used to it. It happens all the time, right? It really happens all the time to me. But I'm gonna use it as a teaching lesson, right? So the three most most common contentions that I personally see is having in the last few days having a weapon or having a gun. This brother he had a contention, I guess, about it, which many brothers from GMS had had before, and if I'm correct, he's affiliated with GMS, and I've talked civilly with some brothers about it. Obviously, this brother didn't want to go that route. And the second thing is, well, lately, since I'm trying to get the community started, right, and living off grid, that's another thing. Trying to live off grid or self sufficient away from society, right? That's the second contention. And then the third contention, which I'm sure all of y'all are aware of to some extent, is posting or talking about anything having to do with polygamy, right? So having a gun or weapons in general, trying to live off grid, and then anything having to do with polygamy, right? Contentions always arise or have been arising from these two issues, right? So let's go to Proverbs 13 and 10. 13 and 10. Proverbs 13 and 10. And let me go to the comments real quick. Audio's kind of choppy. Is it still choppy or does it sound better? It says I got a good signal. So most high willing, you could hear it now. Actually, let me disconnect my okay, yeah, it's disconnected. It's disconnected. But all right. So we're gonna start in Proverbs 13 and 10, right? It says, only by pride cometh contention, but with the well advised is wisdom. Right? So only by pride cometh contention. Okay? What is contention? Let's get the definition of contention. All right? Let's get the definition of contention. So most high willing, the audio isn't as choppy anymore, right? So the definition of contention is heated disagreement or an assertion, especially one maintained in argument, right? So if you look at some of the synonyms, it says disagreement, dispute, argument, variance, discord, hostility, conflict, friction, enmity, strife, disharmony, right? Quarreling and feuding, right? And feuding. So I know that brothers in general like to use um what is it? I believe it's Proverbs 25 and 9. Let me pull up Proverbs 25 and 9 real quick. So we have to make a distinction between contention and anything else, right? Proverbs 25 and 9. So brothers try to use this to say like, yeah, we should be going against each other and things of that nature, right? Which to an extent is right, but to an extent is off. All right. So it says, debate thy cause with thy neighbor himself and discover not a secret to another. So we're going to concentrate on the first part. Debate thy cause with thy neighbor himself, right? Debate thy cause with thy neighbor himself. This is what we're supposed to do, right? But the way that the majority of so-called brothers or sisters do is actually completely off or incorrect. With or I'll give you an example, right? As an example, when the whole Passover incident, right? That's what other brothers are calling it. I don't like to call it that. When the Passover incident happened, right? I reached out to one of the heads of that camp to try and debate not so much the situation, but to talk to the brother because we had a good relationship at that point in time, and to talk to him about what happened and sort it out according to the word, to the scriptures, right? So Proverbs 25 and 9, according to the word, we're supposed to reach out to our neighbor himself if we have some sort of type of issue with them, right? Or with something that they've said, something that they've done, something that they posted maybe, right? And to be honest, most brothers don't have that spiritual or testicular fortitude to do that, right? For lack of a better term, right? They would rather try to enter into contention, into strife, dispute, discord. What else did it say? Conflict, quarreling, friction, all of these things, instead of debating the cause with the brother himself, right? And in this case, me being the brother, right? So let me go back to Proverbs 13 and 10. It says, only by pride cometh contention, right? And we have to realize that pride, the Most High hates pride, right? It's a thing that is hateful in the eyes of the Most High and man. And we go to Sirach 12, pride is the beginning of all sin, right? Oh, Salakia, Salakia. What is this? It's chapter 10, 10 and 12, 10 and 12. Sirach 10 and 12. The beginning of pride is when one departeth from the Most High, and his heart is turned away from his Maker. When you start getting prideful, that's when your spirit, your heart is starting to turn away from your Maker, right? You're getting prideful. You're puffing yourself up, right? Like I've done or I've taught many times. If you go through the 10 Commandments, when you break the 10 Commandments, it's all because of pride, right? Which I'm not going to break down right now because I've done it many times, but let's keep going. For pride is the beginning of sin, and he that hath it shall pour out abomination. And therefore Yahweh brought upon them strange calamities and overthrew them utterly. So pride is the beginning of sin. So to the best of our ability, we have to stay away from contentions, right? Stay away from contentions. And we have to be well advised. Advised by who? By the Most High, by His Word, right? He advises us with wisdom, and as we're gonna see, contention is something that we are to steer clear of as much as possible, right? So I see the Barlos Rivers, Shalom, Shalom. Just so you know, I believe one of the brothers on here as well, and then the brother Danya Allah, Jomar as well. Just to let y'all know, tomorrow I'm gonna start sending out the questionnaires for the land, just in case y'all want to have them filled out. Whether you decide maybe that's the route you want to go or not. I'm gonna send that out tomorrow. My iPhone had messed up a few weeks ago, and I was having trouble getting all my notes off the iCloud thing. So hopefully by tomorrow I'm gonna start sending them out, um, just to have it ready, right? Because it looks like, most high willing, it looks like by the end of June for sure we're gonna be able to purchase some land, right? We'll purchase that land. So only by pride cometh contention, but with the well advised is wisdom, right? So instead of entering into contention, friction, strife, disputing, all these things, instead of doing that, we need to, anytime contention arises, strife arises, arguing, all that type of stuff, we need to see and to check ourselves and examine ourselves and see if we're actually doing this instead, right? So Proverbs 25 and 9, one more time, debate thy cause with thy neighbor himself, right? Let's say, for example, all of us brothers end up living together on the land. And then imagine how off it would be if one brother, say me, just for an example, right? Most high willing, it'll never happen, but let's say me, I get into a, or I don't like the way the brother Jomar says something, right? I don't like the way the brother Jomar says something, and then I go and tell the brother Danya Allah, and then I go tell Barlos, and then I go tell my rib, and then I'm posting it on Instagram and calling out the brother. Like, that's not the way to do it. That's only gonna bring about contention. That's only gonna bring about strife, and a bunch of other problems, right? Instead, we need to make it a habit of debating thy cause with thy neighbor himself. And that's actually one of the questions on the questionnaire. If you have a disagreement, how would you handle it? Something of that nature, right? 'Cause that's something that's very, very important, right? Because it shows a lack of order. Let's go to First Corinthians 14 and 40. First Corinthians 14 and 40. It shows a lack of order when you're doing that, right? So notice the 100, I always say this, the 144,000 are going to be moving in order, right? To the best of their ability. Now, of course, everybody, we're all human, is what like people like to say, right? But when you think about it, we're all, none of us are perfect. I'm not perfect. You brothers aren't perfect. There's going to be times where you may slip up a little bit, and you know what? I was out of order. Boom, there you go. Finished, done. I'm not gonna let it happen again. You know what I mean? If you check yourself, then other brothers don't have to check you, right? But First Corinthians 14 and 40. Let all things be done decently and in order, right? All things, not just a couple things. Let all things be done decently and in order. So one of the things that we have to do in order is this right here, right? Debate thy cause, debate thy cause with thy neighbor himself. And this goes for anything or anybody, right? Like I said before, this has happened multiple times where I've had to reach out to brothers, and you can really tell that it's coming out of pride sometimes, right? Only by pride cometh contention. When, for example, this happens often, right? I won't even, I won't even mention their names or nothing like that, obviously, because it doesn't matter. But just for example's sake, there's brothers or sisters that never comment nothing on my posts, never message me, never like anything. But then when they disagree with something, right, that I post, then they're gonna let me have it, right? They're gonna try to cause that contention, whether it be in the comment section, the majority of the time in the comment section, but sometimes even through messages, and it's just like all caps saying you're wrong or you're this, that, and the other, right? That's all pride, right? That's all coming out of a spirit of pride. And I can honestly say, I mean, I was like that as well, first coming into the truth, right? Because when whoever you're under in the truth, for the most part, when you start coming into the truth, you're gonna start acting like that, right? So we all know that public contentions happen all the time, right? Prideful contentions happen all the time, um, and you can't get around it on social media, especially because it's easy to act tough from a distance, right? And it's easy to get puffed up with pride, like I said, and just go into contention mode instead of controlling yourself, right? And doing things decently and in order. And at the same time, some of the people doing this, especially the people that do this consistently, you see them just doing it consistently. You got to keep in mind that they may be just agents set up to lead us astray, right? Because like the brother that what was his name again? Bethlehem something. The brother that was posting the things, and I'll pull him up. Maybe I'll show them to you or read them to you at least. The brother doesn't have no pictures of himself. There's a lot of people that have messaged me like crazy things, like threatening, physically threatening type of things, you know. And sometimes you got to be wary that it could just be an agent trying to get you to say something and then they can use it against you. Like, let's say before someone has said they were going to physically hurt me, right? If I come back and say the same thing, who knows if they could use that against me as like some type of terroristic threat or something of that nature, right? So it may just be agents set up to lead us astray or to set up to go get you to go off, right? Or to distract you from doing the work of the Most High. And this doesn't have to be just through Instagram. It could be, say, at work, right? It could be at work. It could be wherever it is, right? It could be Satan's agents are everywhere, right? It's like in the movie The Matrix. I don't know if y'all seen. I did a lesson probably like 2 years ago about the Matrix and his agents. I think it's still up on my YouTube if y'all want to check that out. But Satan's agents are everywhere, man, and they try to get you to go off, right? And then on the other hand, you got to realize that some of them also just may not be there mentally, right? Or have spirits on them, right? Or a combination of these things. So when this happens to you, the point is you can't let it get to you, right? One thing I learned a long time ago in this truth is that the people that normally get offended, right? The people that get offended most of the time are the people that the shoe fits, right? So if you're saying something and they're getting offended, it's because that shoe fits them. You know what I'm saying? So if somebody's talking bad about you or talking bad about me, and the shoe doesn't fit, then we really have no reason to get upset about it in the first place, right? So if you want to get, let's get what is it? Proverbs, I think it's 25 and 28, 25, 28, 25, 28. So before I read it, let me just say though that you can't control other people's actions, but you can control your own, right? So I take these contentions, or I'm trying to take these contentions and spin them and flip them and use it as a teaching moment, right? Because that's another thing uh, that I would like to think I learned from martial arts, right? Say one of the kids that I was teaching loses in a tournament, and I would say, well, look, you remember when we studied this? You put your arm out, you got armbarred, right? Remember when we went over that? You can flip anything that may seem bad and use it as a teaching moment, right? So this is Proverbs 25 and 28. He that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls, right? He that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls. So if you can't control your own spirit, back in the days they would have walled cities, right? So people can't come in, people can't attack them. If you don't have your spiritual walls up, right? If you're not girded in your spirit and in your mind and in your actions and the things and in your words, things like that, you are like a city that is broken down without walls. And you got to understand that any type of spirit can just enter into you, right? So you have to learn how to control your spirit and not just, like I said, this is not just say on social media, on Instagram, or it's in real life, right? This happens every single day. This happens all the time. You have to control your spirit in times of contention, or spirits can then jump on you because you don't have your spiritual walls up, right? So instead of getting emotional and or angry, you have to learn to deal with it with wisdom, right? In what was it, Proverbs 13 and 10, it says, but with the well advised is wisdom, right? Of pride cometh contention, but with the well advised is wisdom. You have to learn how to deal with these contentions with wisdom, which is according to the word, right? Because if you don't, more times often, more times than not. Let's go to Ephesians 4:26. Ephesians 4:26. More often than not, this is what happens to a lot of brothers or sisters, right? Especially, I mean, even sisters, it happens to them a lot, right? If you don't control your spirit when contentions come, it says, "Be ye angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath." So don't be angry and sin. And a lot of times this is what happens, right? When a contention comes, when a brother comes at you out of order, you get real angry, right? And it causes you to sin. It causes you to have feelings of hatred towards that brother, right? It causes you to um to hold a grudge against that brother. So let's go to Leviticus 19 real quick, right? Get that in the law. So when somebody has a contention with you, like I said, you just need to know that you got to control your spirit. You can't control them, right? And you can't let their sin or their missteps or their being out of order also cause you to be out of order, right? So this is Leviticus 19 and 18. Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am Yahweh. Right? So now for me to be like, I'm gonna avenge him and I'm just gonna talk all this crazy stuff about him, I'm gonna get angry at him, I'm gonna hold a grudge against him, right? No, instead we're supposed to love our neighbor as ourselves, right? So let's go to the next verse. Oh, so lucky actually. Let me go back to 17. Let me go back to 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart, right? So I don't have any hatred towards that brother. I don't hold a grudge against that brother. Like once you learn how to control your spirit, you're gonna understand that it's a really beautiful thing to not let outside forces, right, come into your home, right? And that's part of. I would like to say that's part of that Proverbs 3:33, right? That's a blessing from the Most High to be able to understand that. The curse of Yahweh is in the house of the wicked, but he that blesseth the he blesseth the habitation of the just, right? I feel like not even I feel like I know that that curse of the Most High would come into my house if I was being wicked, if I was holding hatred towards the brother, if I was holding a grudge against the brother, right? The curses are going to be upon my home. But he blesseth the habitation of the just. So when you're trying to live justly and you're not letting the things that certain brothers or sisters, as once I get to the next topic, sisters even, you can't let it get to you, right? You can't let it get to you. You cannot hate your brother and you can avenge them. You cannot hold a grudge against them, right? So let's go back to what was it? Actually, let me show y'all real quick what I'm talking about because I'm not going to talk about it too much more. Uh, the actual what gave me the reason to do this lesson, right? So the page of the brother is Church of Bethlehem 144,000, right? So apparently he had a contention with me posting along. I believe it was a few weeks ago. I don't even know how long ago it was. A few brothers sent me some screenshots, right? That's the only reason I saw it because, as most of y'all know, I'm not even following that many people. Probably like 70, 80 people, right? But he had a problem with me posting um a gun, right? Or the gun that I used to carry often, but to be honest with you, I don't carry it every day. It's more of a thing to leave at the house when I leave my rib and my four children alone, things like that. But so the first thing it says, oh Salaki, let me go back. Uh right here. So the first thing it says Actually, let me, man, in my screen, my camera is horrible right now, right? My camera is horrible. Let me read these verses real quick. So, Sirach, children of the light, Sirach 28 and 11, a hasty contention kindleth a fire, and a hasty fighting sheddeth blood, right? So, Khan, a hasty contention, right? You can't be hasty in when it comes to anything, right? I learned that, man. I learned that the hard way. All right. I learned that you cannot be hasty the hard way. Right. Uh this is Sirach 4 and 29. Be not hasty in thy tongue and in thy deeds slack and remiss, right? When you're hasty to start a contention, like the brother posted there, a hasty contention kindleth a fire. It starts that fire, right, in between brothers, right? It starts that fire. Be not hasty in thy tongue. Life and death are in the power of the tongue, right? Life and death are in the power of the tongue. And like it says, Sirach 28 and 11, and a hasty fighting sheddeth blood. A lot of times, because you're being hasty to start a contention, it can lead to shedding blood, right? My rib knows that. When I was younger, I was bad, bro. From like fifth grade on throughout high school, I was always trying to fight and things of that nature, right? Probably had like a little bit of that Napoleon complex or something like that. But a hasty contention, we got to stay away from that. We got to be not hasty in tongue or in deeds, because you will, if you're being slack, you will remiss. You're gonna go off, right? You're gonna go off. Um, Jomar, kind of difficult to get upset or offended at contentious pages slash platforms that have no personal photos. For all we know, those are agents hiding behind the screen. So, Khan, that's exactly how I feel about it. That's I couldn't put it into better words myself, right? But I'm just doing this in case, because I'm telling you, multiple people sent me this, and then they were like, "What do you think about this? Or are you gonna address this? Or what are you gonna say to this, brother? Whatever." First of all, like you just said, Jomar, we don't even know if he's a brother, right? It could be Esau or Elam or some other nation of people. It could be an agent. It could be a little 12-year-old kid for all we know, right? But anyways, I'm just gonna read a couple of the things that he posted, because I don't think y'all are gonna be able to see it. I'll try it actually. Let me hold up. Let me unshare this real quick. So the first one, it says, "We can see through you zealots," right? Or zealots, how some people like to pronounce it. So that was one of them. Then the other one said, "You will be rebuked and exposed to the full extent," right? You'll be exposed to the full extent, I guess. I don't know what I'm gonna be exposed on, but I guess we'll see, right? Then the last one, this one was horrible, man. This one was horrible. It says, Salakia, hold on. Some Israelites who want to build a community and glorify themselves. Nothing new. We've seen it year in and year out. They don't really care about Yahushai. They don't really care about Yahushua, right? That's crazy. That's crazy to me. That's the only one that I was like, wow, man, this dude really went off, right? He went off, bro. He went off. But before I deal with that, it's no coincidence to me, right? There's no coincidences with the Most High. Uh, actually, let me get Proverbs 20 and 24. Proverbs 20 and 24. Man's goings are of Yahweh. How can a man then understand his own way? In other words, what you get into, the things you do, the places you go, those goings are of the Most High, right? Man's goings are of Yahweh. Okay, so it's no coincidence that this was brought to my attention today, right? By many brothers, right? Because just yesterday I was talking to multiple brothers, and I even posted about brothers trying to add whether it be on Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, right? Even Snapchat, and to brothers trying to talk to married women, right? And how you can't trust them, brothers that are doing that, right? Even the brother Azariah from Church of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, he mentioned in one of his songs, I can't remember the name of the song, Salakia, but if you go to his page, I believe on Instagram, it's Azariah the Disciple. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it's Azariah the Disciple. He mentioned in one of his songs in the lyrics a couple weeks ago, he sent it to me, how so-called brothers were trying to add his wife and trying to hit up his wife on Instagram, right? So it's all through the spirit that multiple brothers told me how this brother was talking and posting bad about me, right? So then my rib, it was probably about a week ago. Hold up, I think I screenshotted it. Okay, Con. So I'm out working and stuff, and I'm still obviously talking to my rib um through text or through like Instagram messages and things of that nature, right? So my rib sent me this. I believe it was like last week. One second. So she sent me this and it's circled, right? I don't know if y'all can see that, but that's the so-called brothers page, right? She has it circled, follow requests, right? Follow requests. He requested to follow her. So then I think I was working or something like that, and I didn't write back for a while. So she obviously she denied it, right? She denied the request. Then he sent another one. Then she denied it again. Then he sent a third one, and she denied it again. And then she sent me this, right? It says do I block him now? This is the fourth request, right? So then I put con block him, right? But for a brother, and the thing is, my rib has it on her profile. Let me see what it says. It says something like no men followers or something like that, right? Something to the effect of that. It says married, and then she has me tagged at Kingdom's Path 144. Then it says no male followers, right? With the little sign, like the crossed out sign. Then it says no male DMs. And this so-called brother, right, was trying to add her like over three, four. Well, she said four times, right? And then I think she ended up blocking him, right? But the point of it is that there's no coincidences, right? That all me and at least three or four different brothers yesterday we're talking about that, and then this happened, and then I was like, man, that's that same so-called brother that was trying to get on my wife's page and trying to talk to her, right? So as most of y'all know, I'm 144% against brothers talking to or even looking at married women, right? Me and the brother Jomar were actually talking about that. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday or the day before, right? And I gave him a couple of scriptures. John 4:16, where Yahushua tells a woman, "Go get your husband." Right. 1 Corinthians 14:34 and 35. Sirach 9:9. There's many verses that you shouldn't even be dealing with married women, right? So now, but the point is, getting back to the topic at hand, right? I could get contentious, right? Or Salaki, there's some comments. Let me go to the comments real quick. Jomar, I feel like Danya, I feel attacked. Barlos, bearing false witness. So, bearing false witness, saying that I don't even believe in Yah, or what did he say? That I don't care about Yahushai, right? That's just crazy, bro. That's some nonsense. Let's get that real quick. Exodus 20:16. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Right? If I didn't care about Yahushai, would I be even trying to do lives and teach and spread the word and all of these things? Me and a few brothers, most high willing, are gonna go to San Antonio in the next few weeks. Again, most high willing, to go and try and spread the word downtown San Antonio. I got some other things in the works. I mean, it's bearing false witness for sure, for sure. Danya Allah, dude said, abstain from all appearances of evil when the scripts say He that hath no sword, let him sell his garment and buy one. So, Khan, that's a good point as well. I mean, the thing is, when you read verses like that, the verse that I understand where he's coming from because he's with GMS. Okay, and I've had this conversation many times. As a matter of fact, pull that actual pull that script, Baba Kishah, that Luke 22 and 36, right? Pull that one, and then I'm gonna pull Matthew, I think it's 26, Matthew 26. It's in the 50s. Matthew 26. This is the problem that they don't understand. You can't just, it has to be here a little, there a little, right? It has to be here a little, there a little. Okay, so right here. So I'm gonna start on 50 and I'm gonna go down to 52. And Yahushua said unto him, Friend, wherefore art thou come? Then came they and laid hands on Yahushua and took him. Right? So this is when they were taking Yahushua to put him to death, right? And behold, one of them which were with Yahushua stretched out his hand and drew his sword and struck a servant of the high priests and smote off his ear. Right? So one of the people that was with Yahushua, they were like, hey, nah, we're fighting for him, right? They cut off the ear of one of the servants of the high priest. Because remember, the high priests were the ones that had him put to death, right? The elders and the chief priests. So then Matthew 26 and 52. Then said Yahushua unto him, Put up again thy sword into his place, for all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. Right? So they take just this one verse. They take this one verse and they say, see, if you take the sword, you're gonna perish with the sword. Right? Which if you read it in context, at that moment, they would have been put to death for going against what was already ordered. He was ordered to be taken into Pontius Pilate, right? And we know he had to suffer, die, and be buried, right? So we knew he had to die for our sins. He obviously knew the same thing. But brothers will take this one verse and then say, you see, if you have a sword, guess what? You're gonna be put to death. You're gonna perish with that sword, right? But you have to understand this. We'll go through a couple precepts real quick. Let me go to Luke 22 and 36, right? There's a time and a place for everything. There's a time and a place for everything. Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter. I'll go to it real quick right now after this. Right? So this Yahushua then said he unto them, but now he that hath a purse, let him take it, and likewise his script, and he that hath no sword, let him sell his garment and buy one. So now some people might say, some people that aren't in the scriptures, they would say, well, that's a contradiction. Yahushua just contradicted himself, right? He said, if you take a sword, you're gonna die by the sword. But right here, he said, if you don't have a sword, let him sell his garment and buy one. That's a contradiction, right? But if we go to Ecclesiastes, let's go to Ecclesiastes 3 real quick. Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter, right? Now I'm gonna go, I think it's 1 through 8. Come on, 1 through 8. So to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. To everything there is a season. There's a time for everything, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. There's a time and a place and a season for everything under the heaven, right? A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. And I'm sure y'all are familiar with this, but I'm just gonna go over it real quick because just as an example of those two scriptures, right? A time to kill, and a time to heal. Now, are you going out looking to kill somebody? Of course not, right? And a time to heal, a time to break down, and a time to build up. Let me actually go to the whole chapter. A time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. Right? There's a time and a place for everything. And like it says in verse 8, there is a time of war and then there is a time of peace. Right? There's a time of both of them. If you read about Maccabees, one of uh one of Noah's favorite verses. Salaki, I put the wrong. It's 3 and 20. First Maccabees 3 and 21. That's one of his favorite verses, right? Short but to the point, right? But we fight for our lives and our laws, right? There was a time to fight. There was a time of war. There was a time of peace, right? There was a time for all of these things, right? And that's why in one verse Yahweh shall say one thing, and then he said, like, this is not the time. Hey, if you put your sword back in its place, like, I need to be taken right now. I need to die for Israel's sins. If you take that sword out, you're gonna die by it because all these soldiers are against us anyways, right? All these people are against us. So there's a time for everything. There's a time. All they that take the sword shall perish by it. That we're saying in that time, right? Then in Luke 22, where it says, sell your cloak and buy a sword, it's because there's a time for that as well, right? And that's what a lot of people don't understand that. But if you understand, or if you read our history, right? Like say the books of Samuel, for example, right? Actually, let me go to that. Let's go to First Samuel 29. Salakia. First Samuel 29 and 30. Those are two beautiful historical chapters about the men of Israel, right? Let's go to 29 and 5, right? Look at what they were saying about King David. First Samuel 29 and 5. Is not this David of whom they sang one to another in dances, saying, Saul slew his thousands and David his 10,000s, right? David killed tens of thousands of people. You read Psalm 91, it says 1,000 will fall at your left, 10,000 at your right hand, right? There's a time of war and there's a time for peace. That's the point that I'm making, right? Let's read chapter 30 real quick as well. So let me give y'all a scenario, an example, right? This is First Samuel 30 and 5. And David's two wives were taken captives. Now, wasn't David a man that was after the Most High's heart and a man that was following the word and the spirit and all these things? Of course, right? Guess what? His two wives were still taken captive, right? But look at what happened. Let's go down to 16 or 17, right? 17. And David smote them from the twilight even until the evening of the next day. This man was killing people, was killing Amalekites for a whole day, right? And there escaped not a man of them, save 400 young men which rode upon camels and fled. So it's saying there escaped not a man of them except for 400 young men. Imagine how many he killed if they're saying, oh, only 400 men escaped, right? Which rode upon camels and fled. And let's get the next verse. And David recovered all that the Amalekites had carried away, and David rescued his two wives. Right? So there's a time of war. There's a time for war. There's a time for death. Right? There's a time for peace. There's a time for war. There's a time to be born and a time to kill. All of these things, right? And when it comes to especially Jacob's trouble, those times that we're coming into, and I'm gonna read. Actually, I'm gonna get that post real quick, just so I could read for y'all brothers, in case you didn't see it. That's something that I said, man. It was like it wasn't I'm trusting in this gun. It was actually the opposite of what I said on the post, right? But let me go to 1 Timothy 5 and 8. Right? Let me read this what I wrote on the post real quick, just so y'all could get the context of it, right? Which I'm sure most of y'all saw it anyways. Um, so it says, putting your faith in the Most High is number one, of course, and then the hands like praise Him, right? But having the works slash training to be prepared and able to protect yourself and your loved ones if you need to, in caps locks, if you need to, in the future is profitable too. Stocking up on thousands of rounds of ammo or guns or and guns, however, is not logical because you won't be able to carry that on the run. Stocking up on all that is also showing that that is what you are putting your trust in. Being prepared and capable of efficiently using a gun or two is prudent and will definitely be expedient if you have to fight for your life before we get those spiritual powers, Yahweh willing, right? And then I put Maccabean spirit, hashtag Maccabean spirit, because like I said, First Maccabees 3:21, we fight for our lives and our loss, right? So going to First Timothy 5:8, right? First Timothy 5:8. But if any man provide not for his own, and especially for those of his own house, he had denied the faith and is worse than the infidel. Now we have to, as men, have to provide spiritually, of course, first and foremost for our households, right? But just like David, let me see. The water, Daniel Aleph posting these up again. You're much appreciated. First Samuel 30 and 18. And David recovered all that the Amalekites had carried away, and David rescued his two wives. Who's to say that's not part of how you have to provide in Jacob's trouble? I know for a fact that if my wife or one of my children was taken, I'm gonna go after them, right? You're gonna go and try and save them. You never know. That might be something you have to encounter. Now, of course, we're gonna pray for safety in those times, right? Pray that we're worthy to miss all those things, all those plagues that are coming. But at the same time, we have to provide for them, and as well, we have to make sure, like let's say for example, I always have that thought in the back of my head of like what is it called, the Walking Dead times, right? The Walking Dead type of thing, right? Where you have to say you have to leave to go get food, or you got to go get supplies, something like that. Would you want to leave your rib or ribs, right? Say you live in a community and the men have to go out and you just leaving women and children. You wouldn't want to leave them completely unprotected just in case of anything, right? Just in case of anything, you wouldn't want to leave them completely unprotected like that, right? So there's many other examples I can give you of Israelites. If you've read the history of Israelites, you know that man, fight. We had to fight all throughout history, right? But I'll digress on that and finish um, on that one issue. I'll finish with that on what is it? Proverbs 22 and 3, right? Proverbs 22 and 3. A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. A prudent person is someone who's looking forward with wisdom, right? When you foresee that there's evils and things of that nature, hiding yourself is a an expedient thing to do, which is another reason why we're trying to get some land, get out of the major cities, things like that, right? But when it comes to the whole gun thing, one gun can be used for protection, not even if it's to kill, right? It can be used as a detraction, as a means of detraction, right? In martial arts, in when I would teach children, we would do little bullying seminars, right? And we would always go through a couple steps of them getting bullied before they get into a fight. The first thing that you try to do is de-escalate or detract, right? De-escalate or detract. You try and de-escalate the situation so you don't have to fight, or you try and detract them from wanting to fight. So sometimes there was one little kid that was a bully, whatever, and It looked like he had been hit before, right? So what he did was he got in a fighting stance and he put his hands up. And he said that when he did that, now he didn't use this word, right? But he detracted that bully. The bully kind of backed up and was like, whoa, whoa, like what's going on here? You know what I'm saying? A gun could be used just as detraction. If someone sees a gun and they're not going to want to mess with you compared to somebody else who doesn't have one in Jacob's trouble, right? So it can also be used for protection against animals. It can be used as hunting, etc. Right? But as long as you're not trusting in weapons, and it's not even just a gun, right? Say you have a machete, say you have a baseball bat, you have a sword, whatever the case may be, right? As long as you're not trusting in it and you're trusting in the Most High first and foremost, just like I said in that post, right? Then there's nothing wrong with having one or two means, a few means of protection, one means of protection for each person, especially if you have a family to provide for, right, and to protect. Say you got to go out and get food, like I said, or something in Jacob's trouble, and you're gonna want to leave some means of protection for your rib when you leave, right? So that's just a proven thing. So, like I said, I mean, I'm gonna digress on that a little bit, but just to make the point, you really only have two options to address contentions, right? You can either give into it and be prideful about it and enter into that contention, or you can choose how does it go? You choose honor to cease. Actually, let me get that verse. It's Proverbs 20. Proverbs 20. I'll, I'll give you the verse right now, Danya Allah. Let me see. Okay, it's actually verse 3. So Proverbs 20 and 3. It is an honor for a man to cease from strife. It's an honor to get out of that strife, that contention, right? You don't want to enter into that contention, right? Because when you're entering into contention, it's more of a prideful thing, right? You're going into pride. But every fool will be meddling. Now I could have meddled and been like, you know what, this brother said this. I'm gonna look at what he's been doing, and I'm gonna look for something to get him on. But I'm just not like that, man. I'm not even in in the world and stuff. I was never that type of person, right? So it is an honor for a man to cease from strife. You have to be able to cease from strife in this walk, or you're not going to be able to control your spirit. And even in First Timothy, it says if you have people under you, right, a bishop, a deacon, you can't be doing that either. This First Timothy 3:6, not a novice, lest being lifted up with pride, he fall into condemnation of the devil. Right? So novices do this. Novices now, and I know it probably sounds somebody will probably think it's like, oh man, he's taking a shot at him, right? But this is just what the word says. A novice is somebody who consistently goes into contention, right? And why do they do it? Because they're being lifted up with pride, and they're falling into condemnation of the devil, right? Not a novice, less being lifted up with pride. What did it say about contention? Proverbs 13 and 10. Only by pride cometh contention, but with the well advised is wisdom. Only by pride cometh contention, right? Especially amongst Israelites. Most of these people wouldn't do that to other people, but against their own brother, which leads me to believe again, maybe it's an agent, right? They don't even have a face on the picture or on the profile, like the brother Jomar said. Not a novice, lest being lifted up with pride. Only by pride cometh contention. So novices are the ones that tend to fall into that, right? Novices are the ones that fall into that prideful contention. So instead of doing that, you need to get that honor, right? Whether it be on social media, whether it be in real life, whatever the case is, right? It is an honor for a man to cease from strife. It's better to just dead it and not give your spiritual energy, give your time, man. Time is so valuable right now, right? Y'all have the same decision every time to make, right? You choose honor or you choose honor and to cease from it, or you can go the other way, right? You could be a novice and you can give into pride and you can try and be contentious, and it's going to waste your time. It's going to waste your energy. And I've learned from experience, a lot of experience, about 4.5 years, knowing the truth, that if people can't do things decently and in order, it's more expedient to just dead it, man, to just kill it, right? So actually, another thing he said, let me see. So another thing he said is that I don't know how. Maybe you brothers can help me out. Maybe y'all see it and I don't see it, right? It says same Israelites who want to build a community glorify themselves, right? I sincerely can say, right, with a clean conscience, that I try at all times to never glorify myself, right? That's why I start every lesson by giving all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High, right? That's why I've said many times that, like, if y'all knew how I was before I was in this truth, you would know that there's no way that this is of myself. Like there back then, nobody that I used to deal with would ever think, oh, this dude's gonna be teaching the Bible in a few years, or whatever, right? Whatever the case may be. It's all because of the Most High. So I honestly am not sure as to how or why he would think that or say that. Besides bearing false witness, like the brother said, and if I really didn't care about Yahushai, right? Because he said at the end, we've seen it year in and year out. Don't really care about Yahushua, right? If I really didn't care about Yahushua, I wouldn't be trying to spread the word, the truth, doing lives, trying to edify and gather our people together. I wouldn't be teaching my family, right? And actually, let me get Galatians 6:3. This is a good verse for every brother to have under their belt, right? Galatians 6:3. For if a man think himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself, right? If a man think himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself. So I'm sure most of you brothers that I've talked to personally, especially, I know that y'all know for a fact, just like I know, that we are all nothing without the Most High, right? We are all nothing without the Most High. We got no knowledge, no wisdom. We can't do nothing right, right? I am nothing without the Most High. I am by no means perfect, right? Just like y'all aren't perfect, I am by no means perfect, right? As a matter of fact, I just got corrected on something just today by the brother Hawayala, right? Which I've said many times. That's one of the only brothers I would consider an elder, especially in wisdom, right? He's been in the truth longer as well, but in wisdom, I consider that brother Hawayala from Church Yahweh an elder, right? He corrected me on something that wasn't a salvation issue or nothing like that, nothing real big. But not only did I take that correction, right? But I thanked him for it, right? Because that's what we got to do. This word is the reproofs of instruction are the way of life, right? Reproofs of instruction, and that's people don't want to accept that, right? This Proverbs 6:23. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light. This word is light and a lamp, and it guides our path, right? And reproofs of instruction are the way of life. Reproofs, getting corrected, getting reproved, of instruction, though, right? Of instruction. I've said it many times. Bible is like biblical instructions before leaving Earth. Now, leaving this Earth, right? The new going to the new Earth. That is instruction. The word, the Bible, is instruction. Reproofs from this word are the way of life. That's the way of life. Because you're not perfect. I'm not perfect. I don't know everything. You don't know everything. Salakia, this the connection saying it's real low. But Khan. So reproofs of instruction are the way of life. You have to be able to take correction and reproof in this thing, right? And not with contention. A lot of brothers, you try and correct them, even if you go to them person to person, and they can't take that correction, right? Let me read, I don't want to get too off topic, but let me just read this one last verse. Proverbs 15 and 10. Correction is grievous unto him that forsaketh the way, and he that hateth reproof shall die. When you hate reproof from this Bible, right, it's going to be grievous to you. Correction from it is going to be grievous. And why? Because you're forsaking the way. What is the way? It's this word, right? When you can't take uh when you can't take correction, it's going to lead to your death. It's going to lead to your destruction, right? So just going back to that, because like the brother said, or I'm not even gonna call him a brother, right? Because I don't know, I don't even know what he looks like. I don't know nothing about him. As far as I know, I don't know if anybody does, right? But he said that I was glorifying myself, and it's the opposite, man. It's completely the opposite, right? So the last thing he said that I saw, or actually I see a comment. 1 second. Um, So, children of light, the beginning of strife is as when one letteth out water. Therefore, leave off contention before it be meddled with. Khan, that's a good verse as well, right? The beginning of strife is as when one letteth out water. Let's You let some water out the faucet on your sink. Can you get that back? You cannot get that back, right? There's no possible way that you're going to get it back. It's not coming back, man. You can't. Once that contention goes out, that's it. And it can be like a fire, like we read, right? And only fools enter into contention, man. Only fools. Let me go to Proverbs 18. Proverbs 18 and 6. Proverbs 18 and 6. A fool's lips enter into contention, and his mouth calleth for strokes. Right? A fool, you have to be a fool to try and enter into that contention, right? And his mouth calleth for strokes. Right now, the scriptures say, lay not your hands on any man suddenly, right? But sometimes when people use their lips with that contention, their mouth is just calling for strokes, right? They're just calling to be beat up, man. And that's something me, as like I said earlier, it's funny to me because I can laugh about it now, looking back at the old me, and I'm sure when my rib sees this later, she's gonna laugh about it as well. Bro, for any reason I would have fought somebody back before I was in the truth. Like if we would go to the mall and somebody would look at my rib, and at that time we weren't even married, right? But if a dude would even look at her, I would be like, "What's up, man? Like you got a staring problem?" I would have to start a contention. You know what I'm saying? I would have to start a contention. So I can definitely relate to this verse, right? His mouth calleth for strokes. Sometimes somebody will say something to you, and I would just be ready to fight. You know what I'm saying? But that's that flesh. That's the flesh. Now it doesn't even phase me. You know what I mean? It doesn't even phase me to the point where it's like, all right, man, like if that's what you want to do, I mean, you're just making a fool out of yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I see it. Like a fool's lips enter into contention. I'm not gonna be a fool. I'm gonna control my spirit, and at the end of the day, it's not gonna affect me or my house when it comes to anything. You know what I'm saying? And that's why Ephesians 4:26 says, "Be ye angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath." There's certain brothers, I'm not saying that this dude is even a brother or that this is his case, but there's certain people out there that they'll enter into contention and they'll get so angry that they go to sleep mad, right? They go to sleep angry and they wake up the next day and then they remember what happened and they're mad again, right? And they want to hold that grudge and that hatred towards somebody. That's why Ephesians 4:26 says that, right? So Proverbs 22 and 10. Con, that's another good verse. Cast out the scorner, and contention shall go out. Right? Cast out the scorner, and contention shall go out. Get the definition of scorner. A person who express contempt or disdain for someone or something, right? It's there's brothers out here, and this brother may very well be one of them. I'm not saying he is, because I'm not going to bear false witness, but I've had certain men that I'm not even going to say brothers. I don't know if they're brothers for sure, right? That are from that camp, that because of videos that I've made, because of things that I've exposed, they'll just come in my messages, and right away they'll just be scorning and scorning, right? In all caps and explanation points. And Yahushua is gonna this, that, and the other to you, and you disrespect and you block, like, you know what I mean? They have that contentious spirit, and they have that scorning spirit, right? So cast out the scorner, and contention shall go out. When you cast out that scorner, contention is gonna go out too, right? Yea, strife and reproach shall cease. It's gonna stop, right? So the best thing to do is just cut it off, dead it, like I said, right? So the brother Daniel Allah's laughing, kind of used to have heavy anger issues. Same here. Heavy anger issues. Heavy. Same here, bro. Same here. Children of light, Aqua's ready to fight. That rhymes, right? Children of light, Aqua's ready to fight. I was, bro. Like any little thing, I had that spirit of anger as well. You know, and I learned that from a lot of members in my family had that spirit, right? That spirit of hatred towards your own people, towards your own brothers and sisters and family members, and all those types of things, right? So the point of it is, when it comes to contention, especially online, man, you don't even know if these people are real, right? For all we know, it could just be Esau sitting somewhere, just typing up, just going page to page, trying to start contentions. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get people to not listen or follow the truth in any way, shape, or form, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and stop on that. But another thing that I will have to mention, two other things that I mean, it's gotten old to me, but I'm just gonna address them as well. The other two things that really I get a lot of contentions from, and I really don't understand either one of them. I understand, but I don't understand. Is the other one is trying to live off grid, or trying to be self-sufficient to the best of our ability. People have such a big problem with that. I don't know why people would have, and to be honest with you, the majority of people that are saying this exact same thing are from the same camp. They're from GMS. There are some other brothers from other camps, and not even in camps as well, you know, but they have a problem with trying to live away from the system, which makes absolutely no sense to me, right? No sense. And I know I think I went over this as well already, so I'm just gonna pull maybe three verses. But Jeremiah 51 and 6, right? 51 and 6. Flee out of the midst of Babylon. What is the midst? The middle. The midst of Babylon, and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of Yahweh's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. Right? So flee out of the midst of Babylon, and deliver every man his soul. Now we have to understand, like I said many times, there you have the physical and the spiritual when it comes to everything. Right? You have the physical and the spiritual. Flee out of the midst of Babylon, spiritually first and foremost. We have to do, right? First and foremost, we have to do that. Okay? Spiritually, we got to get out of these false doctrines, Christianity in general, right? But then also physically, like if the time of Yahweh's vengeance, he is going to render and recompense, right? Especially in these big cities. Like I've said many times, Second Ezra's 15 and 16, you see all these things that are going to happen. It's going to be the real life purge, right? I believe somebody sent me, I didn't even get to look at it. I don't want to slow down my connection, so I'm not going to look at it. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but I think someone said there was going to be a new purge coming out either this week or next week, something like that. I don't know if that was if I saw that correct because I didn't really click on it. I just saw it pop up at the top that I was doing something. But they said that a new purge was going to come out, right? Where do you think they're going to be purging, right? Where do you think in the big cities? Check this out real quick, right? Ezekiel 20 and 38, and I will purge out from among you the rebels and them that transgress against me. There's many verses that say things like that. They get their ideas for a lot of stuff from the word, right? Where they're gonna be purging is in the midst of Babylon, in the midst of all these cities, right? That follow this Babylonian ideology, right? So like 1 second. So yeah, July 4th. So that's when it's gonna come out. July 4th. So Khan, that I mean, they're trying to show you. They show you um what they're gonna do before they do it, right? Just like the whole that movie Songbird, I believe is what it's called. Songbird. I still haven't seen it. Me and my rib were trying have been wanting to see it, but where they have like they all get sick and they have to have some kind of pass or something, right? That came out before the whole Corona pass thing came out, right? So for this is the time of Yahweh's vengeance. So the point is spiritually, of course, we have to come out of that, but um also of course physically it would be a prudent thing going back to Proverbs 22 and 3, right? And then also, what is it, Numbers? Go to Numbers 16, 16, 16 and 26. Just another example, real quick, right? And he spake unto the congregation, saying, Depart, I pray you, from the tents of these wicked men, and touch nothing of theirs, lest ye be consumed in all their sins. Another real good thing about living away from society in general is that you don't want to be around wicked people, right? It's easy to get tripped up when you're still in the world in general, right? And it's like me and my rib have said, or I've told her multiple times, and she's agreed with me. She's told me the same thing. It's like even going, say, to the mall, going out and being amongst people. Once you're in the truth and you have that spirit, you just notice everything, man. You notice everything that's off. You're like, man, look at those people over there eating bacon. Look at this, man. Look at these females. Last time we went to the mall, and it was like, man, what? My daughter, my oldest daughter's 12 years old. There was a group of little girls walking around about the same age, and I mean, half shirts, short shorts. Like it's just not a good thing to be a part of. And me being a parent, having 4 children, that's something that I want to stay away from as much as possible, right? As much as possible, staying away from all of those things, touching nothing of theirs spiritually, physically, lest ye be consumed in their sins, right? So Proverbs 22 and 3, a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple passed on and are punished. Again, we have to foresee the things that are coming, and it's a prudent thing to hide yourself away from these cities and from these wicked people. Not saying that the Most High, maybe some people will probably make it through there, right? But me trying to be prudent personally, right? I'm foreseeing what's coming, and I think it's a better idea for my family, right, in general, to hide ourselves away and flee the midst of Babylon, right? And maybe if I was by myself, I wouldn't mind as much. I only got myself to worry about, right? If it was just me, but I have a family of 6 to take care of and to provide for, and I'm not trying to be worse than the infidel, like we read in First Timothy 5 and 8, right? So just to quickly touch on that because I believe I've touched on that before in the off-grid video that I did, right? So the last thing that I wanted to talk about, okay? Actually, let me pull a verse Let me get Tobit 8 and 7. Right? Tobit 8 and 7. Me and the brother Jomar were talking yesterday, and we went over this. Right? The last thing I want to talk about, real quick, one of the things, or actually, there's a couple comments. Let me go up real quick. Replos 323, the brother brought out First Thessalonians 5 and 22. So Khan, abstain from all appearances of evil, right? Now, so are you telling me? Oh, I don't know what I don't want to take you out of context, right, brother, or bear false witness on you. But sometimes it's hard to, a lot of times it's hard to discern or see what somebody really meant when they write a comment. So abstain from all appearances of evil, right? I agree with that. Abstain from all appearances of evil, but you got to understand that some of the men that were walking with Yahushua had swords, right? It wasn't an evil thing to carry a sword back in the day. It was a normal thing, right? Saul, David, right? Even Moses, when they smote men. All of these men were warriors. The Maccabees, right? They were all warriors. So it's not an evil thing to carry a modern day gun. Uh, uh, it can be prudent in certain situations, right? What about Lot? How did he manage? What did he do? He left, right? He left and he didn't look back, right? He left and didn't look back. So that's actually another verse. Let me pull that and then I'll come back to this. Luke, what is it? Luke 6. Slovakia. It's what is it? If you could pull the verse, no man putting his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom. Wow, man, and I have this verse down on the flashcards and everything. Wow, looking back. Luke 9 and 62. 9 and 62. Salakia. So when Yahushua said unto him, no man having put his hands to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of Yahweh. Right? No man putting his hands to the plow, working in these scriptures, working out his own salvation, rehearsing the righteous acts, right? Getting his household in order and looking back is fit for the kingdom, right? So when we go back to being prudent and leaving the cities, things like that. I know multiple brothers that this has happened to, right? Multiple brothers that they left and they're not looking back, right? I know 3 brothers that I've talked to personally that live in the Ozarks, and they say, hey man, you know what? I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bit tough at times. You gotta figure out certain things, but at the same time, we would never go back, right? So getting back to this, Tobit 8 and 7, right? The last thing that always causes contention, and surprisingly, it's not even females as much anymore. It's actually more males, right? Anytime I say anything about polygamy or post anything about polygamy, right? I've heard some crazy things, man. Crazy things in comments, in messages saying I'm lustful just for posting anything about polygamy, right? Saying all manner of craziness. But the number one thing is like, oh, you're lustful for posting anything about that, right? So let me read this real quick. Tobit 8 and 7. And now, O Yahweh, I take not this my sister for lust, but uprightly. Therefore, mercifully ordain that we may become aged together. Okay? I take not this my sister for lust, but uprightly. I always go over this verse when I'm giving advice or counseling on courting and getting married. Okay, I always have to pull this verse because the brother first and foremost has to check himself and say or see, am I taking this sister for lust or am I taking her uprightly? Am I taking her because I just want to have sex with her, or am I taking her because I want to do right by her? I want to have a help me. I want to be a head to her, right? I want to be a leader, things of that nature, right? So I could tell you honestly, and my rib is the witness. I could have taken when or another wife, let's just put it this way. I could have taken more than one woman as another wife, okay, before. And one of them, I'll be straight up with you. One of them, very beautiful, very beautiful Israelite woman, right? But it was something about her was off, right? Many women, not many. I don't want to sound like prideful or something like that. Let's say a handful of women maybe over the past year or two have made it clear that they would be down to court and go through that process, right? I could have done that already, and I did not do that. Why didn't I do that? Because I'm not trying to take no sister for lust. I take not this my sister for lust, but uprightly. And one sister in particular that I was thinking about, something was off, right? Beautiful sister, but something was off. Come to find later on, after this idea was shot down, guess what? Something was off. Something was off, and something happened that proved that she was off. Right? So the sisters and even brothers, mainly from IUIC, there's been maybe a handful of brothers that say you're being lustful for even talking about polygamy or posting about it, things of that nature. That's bearing false witness, right? That's what is it? Exodus 21:16, what we just read. That's bearing false witness. Because I could have done it, but I haven't done it. And I'm not going to do it unless I know that that sister is in the right spirit, right? Because I'm not trying to take a woman for lust. It's like me and the brother Jomar were talking about yesterday. Like when you're in the world, sex was the thing. You know what I'm saying? Sex was the thing, like for men in general, right? Even for some women. But once you come into the truth and you really are in the spirit, you're gonna realize that it's not about that lust, right? It's about it's about peace, of course, right? Having peace in your household, and when you take them uprightly, when you know you can lead them and be on one accord, that's the main thing. And it's another verse that me and the brother Jomar were talking about yesterday, right? I'm gonna read this real quick. First Peter 3:7. Likewise, ye husbands dwell with them according to knowledge. So of course, a brother shouldn't even be taking a wife if he can't dwell with her according to knowledge. A sister shouldn't be taking or marrying a man if he can't dwell with her according to knowledge, if he can't teach her, if he can't deal with her and treat her according to the word, right? Giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel. If he can't respect her and know, look, she's the weaker vessel, I got to respect that and know sometimes she's going to be a little emotionally, she's weaker, right? So I can't say certain things. Like when it comes to treating her correctly, even though you still got to give the word, the truth, right? There's a certain way you have to talk to women, right? And as being heirs together of the grace of life, you have to realize that you're trying to inherit, you're trying to be heirs of the kingdom together, right? Together, living through this grace, that your prayers be not hindered. And when y'all are praying as a household, right, you want your prayers to be heard. Finally, be ye all of one mind, right? So going back to the point that I'm trying to make is that it's not, for me, it's not about this. It's really not about lust. Because if it was about lust, like I said before, I could have taken another wife already. And one of them that I mean, all daughters of Zion are beautiful in their own way, but one of them in particular that I guarantee you, most of you brothers probably even know, right? And would say, oh, she's a beautiful sister, things of that nature, right? So, um, getting back to it, we really have to be careful with bearing false witness, right? Saying things, being hasty in speech, like the brother, or being hasty to be contentious, right? Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, right? That's a sin, man. Now you have to repent of that for even saying things that you don't know are true, right? I did a little lesson about this as well. Proverbs 11:1. A false balance is abomination to Yahweh, but a just weight is his delight. You can't be trying to weigh things out when you don't even know the facts of the matter, right? You can't be saying things like that. Saying one of the other things that a female has said was, "Hey, I bet your rib don't agree with that. I bet she wouldn't like if you got another wife, right?" That's another thing that I've heard multiple times, right? If that sister would just watch the live that we did on like our marriage testimony, she would know that that's not true, right? My rib even said like, "Hey, if it was a sister that had the right spirit and things of that nature, and we could be on one accord and things like that, I would actually like that, right? Have a sister wife, right? So when you people just have to be very careful about things that when they say that, right? Causing contention for no reason, bearing false witness for no reason, having that false balance again for no reason. And another verse that this verse always comes up, right? Sirach 26 and 23. A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man, but a godly woman is given to him that feareth Yahweh. If I was so wicked, because hey, let me tell you, man, some of those brothers from IUIC, man, they'll go off about the whole polygamy thing because they're taught differently, right? They're taught that it's not a good thing, right? That it's completely going against the scriptures and things of that nature, right? Which of course we know it's not, and I've done a whole lesson on that. But they'll say things like that. And if I was so wicked, or other brothers as well, right? Then why would I have a godly woman? My rib is not wicked in any shape or form, right? In any way, shape, or form. She cooks, she cleans, she studies, she writes precepts on the daily. She takes care of our children better than any woman I've ever seen take care of their children, right? Teaches them, right? When I'm not here, I know when I get home, I'm gonna have food cooked. She's gonna be a pillar of rest, right? If I was so wicked in all of these things when it comes to polygamy, then I would have a wicked woman, because a wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man, right? If this wasn't true, then you wouldn't reap what you sow, right? So many precepts would just be off if this wasn't true, right? So I must be doing something right, because it says a godly woman is given to him that feareth the Most High, right? So the reason why most people do that, though, why they talk bad, is because they're trying to project their insecurities on other people, right? Many times that's what it is. They have insecurities about their marriage, or about their past relationships, or their current relationship, or things that have happened to them in the past, right? They have insecurities, especially when it comes to the whole polygamy thing, like with women, right? In general, and they try to project those insecurities on other people. And that's one thing I learned even before the truth. I will not let anybody project their insecurities on me, right? That's part of ruling your spirit as well, right? Another thing is they just don't believe the word. Like, they may say that they believe the word. Let's get Malachi 3 and 6. I'll just pull three verses on this topic real quick, and then I'm gonna finish it off, right? Malachi 3 and 6. For I am Yahweh, I change not. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. But I am Yahweh, I change not. The Most High doesn't change, right? He's not like all these worldly people that we know, okay? He doesn't change. So a lot of times, females don't believe the word, or even men don't believe the word, right? Or they've been taught wrong, like I said, right? This is why you have to obey the Most High and not men. Acts 5 and 29, right? They've been taught wrong. Or they just haven't been taught at all, right? Maybe they're coming fresh into this truth, and if the first thing you see is polygamy coming into the truth, I can understand how a mind like that would be off, right? But when it comes to it, most of the time it's just because they don't believe the word, and slash or they've been taught wrong, right? Let me get two more verses real quick on that. Matthew 5, the famous verses everybody knows, right? 17 and 18. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. Yahushua didn't come to destroy the law. Verse 18, for verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. So not one jot, not one tittle is passed away from the law, right? Let me just get one more verse. So what is the law? The first 5 books, the Torah, right? This is part of the law. Exodus 21:10. If he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish. Right? So this is a law on how to deal with women when you take another wife. Right? So basically the reason why most people have a problem with that is because of those issues. Projecting insecurities, don't believe the word. They've been taught wrong, or they just haven't been taught about it at all, right? But the point of the whole lesson, I just wanted to go over those 3 things because those are the three main contentions that I see almost on a daily basis, man. Not the gun one, but since that one recently happened, I was like, I'm gonna go over that as well. Only by pride cometh contention, but with the well advised is wisdom. Only by pride cometh contention. So stay away from pride, right? Stay away from pride. Stay away from being contentious at all times, right? Some people are just always have to be in some kind of contention to be happy, right? And misery loves company. I know there ain't a verse for that, but misery loves company, right? Let me pull up this verse. Proverbs 22:10. Cast out the scorner, and contention shall go out. Cast them out, right? Cast them out. You can try and correct them, but from experience, like I said before, if they can't do things in order, it's not going to work out. And most of the time, or a lot of the times, like I said, if there's brothers like that on social media, you don't even know if they're real brothers, right? If they're even in the truth, you don't even know if it's an Israelite, right? So if nobody has any questions, I'm gonna go ahead and finish on that. On that note, I'll also finish by saying, let me go back up. Hold up. I'm gonna finish by saying this: what the brother Daniel Allah said. Man's got robbed. Jomar got robbed. Jomar got robbed on that contest, and not even because I'm biased and I love the brother, right? If I didn't know him and I heard that round of music, those 3 songs versus those 3 songs, I mean, I still would have voted for him, right? I still would have voted for him. So let me see. Jomar, LOL. It's not even funny. I'm laughing because I'm trying not to be vexed, right? I feel worse that you lost than when I got voted out, right? But so tomorrow, man, tomorrow's already Friday. This week went by so fast. I don't know about y'all, but this week went by real fast. Tomorrow we'll do a chapter study, and then most high willing, I'm gonna go over some some Hebrew, right? I'm gonna show y'all I how I translate the Hebrew, and then also we'll go over the Most High's name and Yahweh's name, right? We'll go over some archaeology, and we'll go over translating, right? Translating. So boycott inside the nation. Hey, I'm not even gonna watch next week, to be honest with you. As soon as I saw that they voted you off, bro, I turned it off. I went to the living room and my rib was watching. And I was like, "What are you doing?" Like, she was like, "What? That's it? Like, you lost?" I was like, "You lost." I don't know, man. I don't know what's wrong. I was vexed, bro. I was vexed. I'm boycotting inside the nation now. Boycotting them. Facts. Audience over the judges. So if you think about it, Jomar had the fan vote. I don't remember how much it was because my computer cut off and I had to restart it or refresh the page. But man, I know you won the audience vote. you had more people voting for you than for the other brother, and only the two judges, right? Who's to say the other two judges that weren't there? Like, what kind of issue is that too, bro? I'm not gonna cuss, but I'm kind of vexed that you lost. What kind of stuff was that the two judges weren't there when it's the final four people? You know what I'm saying? They left it up to two people to decide your fate, Doc. That's messed up, man. That's messed up. They should have had the audience be counted as more because there was what 100 people in there, and you got the majority of the votes. So, in my opinion, that wasn't judging righteous judgment. Not. That wasn't judging righteous judgment. Daniel Allah, days are shortening for the elect. Khan, not in Matthew 24, right? Matthew 24. Matter of fact, let's get that real quick. I'm just gonna type it in here. Get that real quick. Oh man, Salakia. It always pops up in a new tab. I still haven't been able to figure that out. Matthew 24, 22. So I'm gonna start on 21 actually. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not seen, or such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. I can't even read right because I'm feeling vexed talking about how they robbed Jomar, right? For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. What we're seeing in Colombia, right, looking like a purge. I don't know if y'all saw that how the cops were dragging people, shooting people down and dragging them, and everywhere it's going to start happening like this, right? This great tribulation is starting to manifest more and more every day, right? And it's worse than has since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be. We're gonna see some of the worst stuff happening. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. So the Most High is shortening these days to save some people who we already know it's the elect, right? But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. These days are definitely Salakia, definitely being shortened for the elect's sake. Most High willing, we're a part of that number, right? Again, I'm not going to say Galatians 6 and 3. I'm not going to say that I'm something when I'm nothing. Without the Most High, I'm nothing. I'm not going to be trying to glorify myself, but Most High willing, all of us are a part of that number, right? Because we see that these days are being shortened, man. And who is it being shortened for? The elect's sake, right? So going back to the comments, children of life, lights, keep it going now, enjoying the lessons. All praise to Father Khan, all praise to Most High. All that's another thing. Like I see some brothers trying to take credit for the wisdom that they have. And I can tell y'all straight up, if y'all would have known me back in the day, there's no way I could take credit for this, right? For Yahweh giveth wisdom. Out of his mouth cometh knowledge and understanding. The Most High gives wisdom, right? He gives everybody their own dispensation of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Me nor any other brother, even sisters, because sisters have wisdom as well, right? All of that comes from the Most High, and out of His mouth cometh knowledge and understanding. Out of the Word, uh, come that understanding. Get it from that Word, right? But He puts the spirit of wisdom on us. So, hold up, let me go back up real quick. 57% Jomar to 43% Khan. So if we know all 100 people that were on there didn't vote, but let's say it was 57 to 43. I mean, they should have been worth more than just one vote. If there's only two judges, in my opinion, right? Jomar, no Issachar representation of the judges. Khan, we needed actually Chakba, the judge. I believe he said he thinks he's what is it? Zebulon, or if I'm not mistaken, I think he said he was Zebulon. So either way, no Northern Kingdom, right? Well, those brothers might be Northern Kingdom, and they just think they're Southern Kingdom. Because it's a funny thing. Not to get off topic, I'm gonna end this in a minute, but there was a brother that I knew not too long ago that was totally against. Speaking of contentions, right? He was totally against the whole ideology of Native Americans and so-called Hispanics being Israelites, right? He was against it, man. And I had to put him on what is it called where you can't see they can't see the comments. I restricted him, right? Because he was talking crazy stuff and not backing nothing up with scriptures, right? Nothing backing up with scriptures. He was just going off his own opinion. So I restricted him. And but come to think about it, later on, months later, I hadn't heard from him, whatever. Months later, he found out that his ancestry or his lineage on his father's side was actually Native American, right? So I mean, to me, that's like the curse. What is it? Deuteronomy 28, 54, I believe. How your eye will be turned evil to your brother. He hated his own people, right? He was saying Native Americans aren't Israelites. We're the real Israelites, the Negroes, and this, that, and the other. And then it turns out he was actually a so-called Native American, right? While claiming to be Southern Kingdom, he was actually Northern Kingdom, right? So poor Jerusalem, Shalom, all praise to the Most High. Khan, Shalom, all praise to the Most High, Yahweh, Basham, Yahushai. So it looks like that's it with the comments. Salakia, let me see. Try holding the command button before clicking the link. Oh, Khan, let me try that out. So let me just put whatever Luke 1 and 68 or 60, 63. Let's go with that. Command, is that control? Control. Nah, it's still open in the new window. What would command be? Alt? Nah. Oh, there we go. No, nah, that didn't work. Let me see. Nah, that's not working. But yeah, I've been trying. I was trying to look it up for this computer, but it's a few years old, so I wasn't able to find it right. Khan, so change that doctrine real quick. He most definitely changed that doctrine real quick because he was claiming to be an Israelite, right? And saying, going with that no or that Negro only doctrine. But then I mean it turns out, guess what? He was a so-called Native American. And according to him, before that, he was saying that Native Americans were actually some type of like Moabites or something of that nature, another nation, right? So I'm sure the Most High corrected that for him real quick, right? Because the Spirit bears witness, and if he was bearing witness in the Spirit, then I mean I'm sure he still felt the Most High made him feel in the Spirit like, hey, yo, well, if you're bearing witness in the Spirit and your people are the Native Americans, then I mean I guess he's gonna have to accept that or just hop out the truth in general, right? The book of Leviticus 19:17. Con. So you can't hate your people, bear or hold a grudge against your people, right? Righteous souls, kingdom's path. Are you from the tribe Issachar? So many people ask me this, right? And I don't. The first thing I'll say is I don't. We all know the chart is not 100% accurate. We know this because people migrate, things of that nature, right? And there's some reasons why certain people bear witness or in the spirit to different tribes, right? So I'm not gonna say I'm Issachar because I can't say I'm Issachar. I can't say I'm Gad because my dad's lineage goes to northern Mexico, right? The northern Mexico area, southern Texas area, right? But you have to realize that only 200-300 years ago, Mexico or Texas actually was a part of Mexico, right? So we would have to, if you're going off 100% on the chart, I would have to ask, well, when do you think the chart came into play when it comes to saying Mexico is the Issacharites, right? At one point in time, because Mexico, Texas, the land that I'm standing on right now, where I live, this was Mexico a couple hundred years ago, right? So there's a fine line um between Gad and Issachar in general, right? Because they would call them Native American now, but a couple hundred years ago they would have been called Mexicans, right? So I'm not gonna say I'm either or, but yeah, Khan, I just read like the brother just said, Northern Kingdom. Not, I'm Northern Kingdom. Let's just put it that way. And like the brother said, could have a brother look like the Northern Kingdom but come from Judah, right? And that's perfectly possible as well, right? Or Zebulon. So my ribs father was born in Guatemala, which they say is a Zebulon, right? So my rib then in turn going off the chart would be Zebulon, right? Her my her pops was born in Guatemala, and to be honest though, he really fits the description of Issacharites though, because he moved over here when he was a teenager. Not even moved over here, he came over here illegally as a teenager, right? And ever since then, he's been building houses, right? He's had that Issacharite spirit of building houses and being like a strong ass, right? A strong donkey, couching down between two burdens. He's been working. When I talked to him, I used to work with him actually in Colorado. He does contracting work. He's built. When I talked to him at that time a few years back, he said I built. I asked him how many houses or he builds apartment complexes, condos, things of that nature. I said, how many do you think you've made up until this point? And he was like, man, well, since being a teenager, it has to be hundreds and hundreds. There's no way you could even count them. You know what I mean? So he's had that Issacharite, hardworking spirit for years and years and years and years. You know what I'm saying? And the other thing is, one of the curses is that you'll build a house and you will not dwell therein, right? So he definitely bears witness to that because the man's never even owned his own home, and he's built hundreds and hundreds of homes, if not 1,000, right? Homes and condos and all of these things. Um, Kanye Allah Khan, I've seen how Yalla say multiple times how there's a scattering amongst the scattered. So Khan, that's a perfect way to put it. There's a scattering amongst the scattered, right? Uh, so Khan. So just like the brother said here, just to make that last point, could have a brother look like the northern kingdom but come from Judah, and the same thing opposite, right? You could have a brother that's from Mexico and looks like Judah. You know what I'm saying? Because even in the slave days, if you look at the history of it, there's many people that fled into Mexico because Mexico wouldn't extradite slaves back to America, right? So say you have a slave in Texas or Louisiana, something like that, and they fled to Mexico. Well, Mexico wasn't about to extradite them or send them back to the Americas so that they could go back to their slave owner. So a lot there's a lot of history on that, talking about how some slaves, a lot of slaves fled into Mexico, and guess what? So now later on, as the history is lost, some people in Mexico might be thinking, "Oh, I'm Issachar," or "Oh, I'm Gad," or whatever the case may be, but their ancestry or lineage actually goes back to Southern Kingdom, right? They could be Judah, they could be whatever the case it is, Levi, Benjamin, right? But come with that, I'll give all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. Shalom to you, brothers and sisters. And I hope y'all keep striving for the truth. Strive for the truth until death, and Yahweh shall fight for you. Right? Tomorrow we'll do the Sabbath study. We'll do it at let me see. Daniel, you know what time? I forgot. The brother how y'all told me. What time is the class tomorrow? The class or the chat. You know what time it's at? Let me see. No, he didn't tell me. texted to me. I was talking to him earlier and he told me, but man, I totally forgot. I was like in the middle of working. You know what time it's at, brother? I believe he said like 7 or 8. So just to be safe, I'll it usually starts around between 7 and 9. All right, Con. Hopefully it starts a little bit. Okay, Eastern time. Okay, Con. So then we'll do. Well, let's go ahead and schedule the. I'll schedule it right now after this, just so y'all can see it. But I'll put it up probably like 10:30, so we can do the Sabbath lesson. But you know what? That might be late for some of y'all in the Eastern time. Let's do it at 10, right? I'll start it at 10 tomorrow, so we can do a little Sabbath study, Sabbath lesson. So with that, I'll say Shalom. I'll praise the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Mashiach Yahushai. It's contention. You got to stay away from contention to the best of your ability, right? Pride only cometh from contention. Only by pride cometh contention, but with the well advised is wisdom. Be well advised in these scriptures. Use wisdom at all times, and don't have that prideful spirit and be contentious, right? Because the Most High hates a prideful man. Hates a prideful man. So with that, I say Shalom and Barakatah.